Welcome to Add to Cart, the show where we celebrate creativity and commerce. On this season, we have invited entrepreneurs across all types of commerce. And today's guest is part of the re-commerce space, an incredible industry that is helping people both reuse and purchase open box items that would otherwise perhaps go to waste. Please welcome to the show Kristin Langenfeld of GoodBuy Gear, a re-commerce platform for used and open box kid and baby gear. Welcome to the show, Kristen.
It's great to be here.
I love your platform.
Thank you.
I had a baby in November, and I learned all about GoodBuy Gear. I knew about your business, but I learned all about GoodBuy Gear shopping on GoodBuy Gear, which honestly probably is the best way to learn about a business. And as I'm sure you are well aware, but I was newly aware, there is a lot of stuff when it comes to having a child. And it turns out that you use that stuff for a very short amount of time before that stuff would probably hit a landfill or go to a donation center. And that is exactly where your business comes in. So for people that don't know, tell them all about GoodBuy Gear. How'd you come up with this idea?
Like many startups, it was born out of a personal pain point where I, like you, was realizing how much stuff a little human needs, how expensive it is, and for how short of a period you use these items. And so I was told to just join a mom's group online, and it was this Facebook group. And I'll never forget going back and forth with like random strangers, learning new acronyms of like NIL and all this stuff. That I was like, what is that means? Next in line. So you have to like sign up for who's going to get the item, and then you have to show up at their house.
So there's a wait list for a used item at someone's house. Boy, okay.
Yeah. And then, so you go through all of this, and I ended up finding someone who had this stroller, and I drove across town, and I like brought my 3-month-old daughter, like carrying her up to her house, and I walk in, and she had these massive dogs. It was like this awful experience, and the stroller had flat tires. And
fun.
I was like, okay, here's the cash. And it was like the most awkward, awful experience. And I went back home, and I was like, this is crazy. Why hasn't someone solved this? Like, there's gotta be a better way, because we all have this problem. We all have a bunch of stuff that our kid didn't like, or we've got 2 of them, or, we need something else. And there really wasn't a solution I could find. And I sent actually a survey out to that same mom's group. And I just said, is anyone else in the same boat? And I had 100 responses of other moms. Wow. And I had 80% said that they were in the same boat, and 70 families signed up to be part of a beta group if I was going to do something about it. And that was 6 years ago.
It's a really interesting thing, though. We talk so much about the secondhand and, lightly used sort of ecosystem. People are very used to buying things on eBay, buying things on Poshmark. This isn't an unusual concept for so many things. I mean, even think about shoes. People buy shoes used all the time. But the idea of buying, a baby carrier, it was just impossible. It was like going on Craigslist is kind of sketchy. This Facebook moms group maybe helped, but it's still so limited to your geography. So the first kind of attempt at building your beta offering, what was the beta version of GoodBuy Gear?
It was essentially a swap. So we were doing it as a, whatever you don't need, set outside and tell us what you do need. And then we basically paired up what every family wasn't using and did a swap. What we heard from our customers was they just wanted the ability to choose the items. So and then, I guess it's a marketplace.
They wanted to shop, just like they shop anywhere else. And so then do you start an e-commerce store at that point, or what do you have to figure out in order to actually build that online presence?
I started Googling, and I discovered Shopify. And I was like, oh my God, like we can take a transaction and it goes to our bank account. Like that would have taken
forever.
Like it took us a year to build it before. We basically just manually put products up on Shopify and started selling them. And like it even had an integration to Postmates that we could have the delivery done. So I mean, it was really.
So Postmates was your V1 delivery mechanism, huh?
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
You basically get some products, you put them on Shopify. Postmates is delivering them to people's doors. That's so novel. I love it. How did you know you had something?
We knew that there was the demand because we just got an influx of customers telling their friends and looking for items all the time. But the problem was we couldn't fulfill what they were looking for. So supply, and to this day, supply is still our biggest challenge of getting enough inventory. And we had built a peer-to-peer marketplace. So we were not housing or taking inventory at all. We were just built a platform for people to be able to list the items themselves, and then we facilitated the logistics, which we thought was the hardest part. Like my experience of going to someone's house, like let's cut that out, and we could just have people list items. And And what we found is that my co-founder would like I remember she showed up this woman's house and she had sold a couple of things that she said to her, oh, I have like a basement full of stuff and I'm eventually getting through it. And Jess, my co-founder, was like, I'll take it and do it for you. And she was like, are you serious? And just like ran and filled her entire SUV. And then that same woman told her friend, who told, like, we didn't know this person, and like their whole neighborhood, we did 20 of these white glove pickups that month. And we were like,
amazing.
Uh-oh, I think this is how we have to solve the problem, because, you know, it's like the painkiller, not the vitamin, whereas people are like, oh my God, thank you. Like, I just don't want to have to deal with any of this. Take it. I don't care what you pay me for it, but like, just take it out of my house. And that was when we started going, I think we're onto something here, but this means we need to take the inventory.
So to help people understand this, now today, what that literally means is there's a beautiful GoodBuy Gear van that will show up on your front doorstep and will take your gently loved kid and baby gear away and then list it on the website.
Yep.
And that's partially because it means that the end user, meaning the person who gave you that high chair, for example, doesn't have to take pictures and list it themselves. They just have to give it to you. They're going to get a small cut of the sale, probably a much smaller cut, but they get that peace of mind, like you said, of it's out of my house, it's not here, and they're still getting some money, which is awesome for them. So what are some of the things that have just been distinctly difficult about getting this business operational and scaling?
I mean, I think the hardest thing has been the operations. Usually you have a SKU and you have a quantity of 1,000, but instead we have 40,000 SKUs with a quantity of 1. And so we use this database that we've amassed in order to really make our operations efficient and enable all of our associates who quality check the products to be baby gear experts without having to know everything about every item, because they just follow the steps that the app tells them.
So how do you go about building that repository, that quote unquote Kelly Blue Book of kids gear? Do you just do it one at a time? Do you leverage other industry resources? How did you build this massive database?
One of our wing moms, we call them, they're like the original associates. They're writing descriptions for all of these that we wanted to be able to reuse. And she took the 400 or whatever it was, 300 or 400 list, we put it in a Google Doc, and overnight she wrote descriptions for every single one of them, and then added, we have what age it's appropriate for, and then different tags about the item, if it's easy to fold, and we have all of the size and weight and all that. And she basically built the first 300. And now she's in charge of product for
Well, look at that. What a success story. Now the customers are finding you, it sounds like, through a lot of word of mouth. But how else are folks discovering you?
They're discovering us through search, so organic or paid search as well. And then we work with micro or influencers, like mom influencers, quite a bit. And it's a great way to get the word out, as it's usually something that they love and that they want to use themselves. There's one influencer that we worked with. She did Merry Thriftmas, and so she was had found some stuff on GoodBuy Gear, I think. And then we were like, do you want to do a collaboration? And she brought down our site.
That's amazing.
She's not like a big influencer, because it was so in line with her, her brand and herself, like what she was doing, that she was like, this place is amazing. I just got all of my kids' stuff for Christmas. I didn't buy anything new. And she got it all from us and like another thrift stores, I think, around.
When you think about this contribution to this cultural change of, a more cyclical economy, maybe not having so many net new items enter, not having so many plastics in our world, not having so many things go in landfills. How much of that is driving kind of the ethos of your business and your brand?
Like if we started this company 10 years ago, we wouldn't have the same sort of trajectory, because we are very fortunate that the tailwinds of people caring about sustainability. We've got Gen Zs having kids, and then, it's also, we have a lot of inflation. And
I'm curious, have you thought about leaning into that from a content perspective, or do you allow sort of your consumer to just drive that narrative?
For what we found, transparently, like the messaging of like, buy this because it's good for the environment doesn't resonate, but it does help customers feel really good about their purchase. So people are coming to us for the value and the convenience, and then the repeat purchases and like just that great feeling like, oh, I don't have to feel guilty that I just spoiled my kid, and like I buy my kids all sorts of stuff on GoodBuy Gear, and I don't feel guilty that I'm bringing this in because A, I know that I'm not buying it new, but B, I know that I can sell it back.
This year, for the first time ever, GoodBuy Gear releases its sustainability report. Tell us about it.
I'm really excited about this report because it brings together industry trends and statistics. It's really incredible to see how this vertical is growing faster and sort of riding the wave of e-commerce and the growth that we're seeing as an industry, but how the baby and kid gear is especially prevalent in the e-commerce space. So it has a lot of stats about the overall industry, and then what's really cool is we use the data from our Blue Book of what products have sold the most, what are the most wanted, the brands, the actual individual SKUs that sold the best or had the best resale value, and so sort of compiling some stats for us. And then I guess the last thing in it is that we have a pledge to save 1 million products from landfills in the next 2 years.
That's amazing. 1 million products from landfills in the next 2 years. How many products did you save from landfills last year?
170,000.
That's amazing. How's that feel to just know that you contributed to that?
Yeah, it's great. Every day, I don't know, they all kind of blend together. So when you take a step back and you're like, oh, wow, okay, like that's actually a lot, you know?
That is the life of a founder, as days just blurring into themselves. So what are some of the other strategies you use to get the good news about the brand out there using this report as the catalyst?
Most of our supply actually comes from retailers or the manufacturers themselves who are working with us, and their returns or floor models that instead of those going into landfills, they send to us to quality check and put back into circulation. And so it's actually enabled us to leverage the report to get in front of some of those brands and manufacturers that we're not working with. So it's been sort of a BD way to talk to different partners. And then for press, like we did press releases and got in front of big and small publications, and just helps spread the word as well.
So how do manufacturers feel about GoodBuy Gear? I mean, I'm assuming they want me to buy the brand new thing, but there's got to be a great reason for you to exist in their ecosystem as well.
It's a great question, and I think the interesting data point that I'll share is 1/3 of baby and kid gear is already acquired secondhand.
Wow.
And it's because they're made to withstand an apocalypse, but you use it for like a day sometimes, or 4 times, and then what do you do with it? So I mean, the stuff doesn't go anywhere, and so it goes back into circulation. And most brands are realizing that they can either pretend this doesn't exist, or they're seeing, no, our customers want this. Our customers are asking for items that are not brand new, and they want to participate in the secondhand economy. And so instead of ignoring it, why don't we participate in it? And we work with some of the most premium brands, and it really, what they want is that their brand is upheld, so that an item that is broken doesn't go back and another family uses it, and God forbid a child gets hurt, and it's the last thing that any brand wants. And so by working with us, we're able to ensure that every item that goes to a family is safe. And they also then can participate from a financial perspective as well, and be part of not just the first transaction or the first sale of an item, but the second, the third, et cetera. So it's a whole new revenue stream, and it's an area that we can do quite efficiently, and it's not part of like the DNA of most manufacturers is to they sell new things and they build new things, and so the refurbishment and ensuring the quality checks of used items is not the business that they're in. So it's a really great symbiotic relationship that we've built.
You guys are really into the puns at GoodBuy Gear. The goodbye, the goodbye, the guarantee is a guarantee. I noticed that on every page. What is your guarantee, and what is the importance of that for your customers?
Trust and safety are of utmost importance when you're buying something for your child. It's always been our top core value. It's been, our number one brand promise to customers. And so the guarantee sort of solidifies that in our promise to our customers, that if the item is not working as intended, or if it's not what we said it was, that we will 100% take care of it and, give you your money back or take it back and do whatever we can to make it right. That is our guarantee that's our brand promise to you.
One of the areas that I see the most waste, and I partially think you see it just because every single time I walk into Target, there's a giant stack of car seats in a box.
Yeah.
So car seats have typically not been part of the circular economy, but it sounds like GoodBuy Gear is going to offer them soon. Tell us about your car seat campaign.
Seats, yes. Car seats are a huge waste. There's like 12 million car seats that are thrown out every year. And it was a problem that we knew about and didn't think we could change for a long time. And we are excited to announce, I don't know when this will air, but it is something that we're turning on this spring to actually accept used car seats. And we've been working with the regulators, the folks who write the actual laws about car seats to ensure that we can do this safely. And so what we've developed is a 40-point check that we're doing on used car seats. Customers sign an attestation that it hasn't been in an accident, and then we put them through our normal flow and sell them and ship them nationwide. So it's going to be huge and probably controversial, as there is this assumption in the market that you can't sell a used car seat, and that's not true. It's really safe to use a car seat that has been used by another family, as long as it hasn't been in a serious car crash.
I cannot wait to give you my Doona.
Can't wait to get the Doona, because we have a wait list of customers who want that.
Cannot wait to give it to you. All right, so you've obviously just nailed the baby market. And what age range do your products really go up to?
We really focus on like the 0 to 5. And after that, we have some things, but it's really concentrated, and we're really focused on that 0 to 5. I think there's a natural extension for us to start moving into other categories. But for the immediate future, I mean, we're just really focused on owning the 0 to 5 and having the best selection and value and liquidity in the marketplace for that specific age group. So you know that you can come to us and find everything you need for your toddler.
Every single one of these episodes, we're trying to coalesce some of the best learnings for brands, especially folks who are just getting started with their businesses. And we're calling it the checkout, because we, like you, love a pun. So there are 3 things that I'm really hearing you need to check out. The first is authentic influencers. Find your customers who are loving your product and make them your influencers. Yes. And number 2, create your own content. Don't just rely on the manufacturers. Don't just rely on other partners. You've invested in your own blue book, and that pays dividends in terms of what you're able to do on your website, but in other co-marketing locations and on social media. And 3, don't be afraid to do something big and bold, like a sustainability report that gives your company a position in the market, tells people what your mission is, and also transparently encourages people to be a part of that mission. Once you finish it, put it out in the press. Send it out to your business development people. Get it into the hands of your partners so that you can continue to grow your business.
Yeah.
Well, Kristen, I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'm so grateful for your business. Thank you for helping us create less waste in the world and helping a new mom like me get some good stuff for my family. If you learned something from Kristen, please subscribe to this channel. It means we're doing a good job. You're learning something. And if you want to check out GoodBuy Gear, then listen to Kristen, because she can tell you what to do. Take a look at that camera over there and tell the good people where to go.
All right. So go to goodbuygear.com. It's just GoodBuyGear.com.
Thanks, Kristen.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you.